My dear brother, my dear sister, there is a reason you are hearing these words right now. Not because you searched for them, not because you planned for them, but because Allah is quietly moving something in your life that you have not yet fully understood. Some people will no longer be able to reach you, not because you walked away, not because you changed, but because Allah is raising you to a place where their hands can no longer touch your heart. Stay with me for a few moments, because what you are about to hear may explain the shift you have been feeling in your soul. This shift in your life is not random. Allah is moving you out of what can no longer hold you. My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to you softly, as if your heart is sitting right in front of me, open and listening. There comes a moment in life when something inside you begins to change quietly. It does not announce itself. It does not arrive with noise or signs that everyone can see. It comes like a gentle breeze in a closed room. You only realize it when you begin to feel different in places that once felt familiar. The laughter that once felt natural now feels forced. The conversations that once energized you now leave you tired. The dreams that once felt big now feel small, almost like they belong to someone you used to be, not the person you are becoming. And you sit with this feeling, sometimes late at night, sometimes in the middle of a busy day, and you wonder, what is happening to me? Why do I feel disconnected from my own life? My dear one, this is not confusion. This is not you losing your way. This is Allah beginning to guide you to a new one. You see, Allah does not always guide by opening a door in front of you. Sometimes He guides by making the room you are standing in feel uncomfortable, so you begin to look for a door you never noticed before. Sometimes He does not change your surroundings, He changes your heart. And when your heart changes, the world around you no longer fits in the same way. You may still be in the same house, the same workplace, the same circle of people, but inside something feels different. You start to notice things you once ignored. You start to feel things you once brushed away. You start to question things you once accepted without thought. And this can be unsettling, because when you grow, you often outgrow before you understand what you are growing into. So you try to hold on to what you know. You try to return to old habits because they feel safe. You try to reconnect with old versions of yourself because they feel familiar. You try to convince yourself that this feeling will pass if you just ignore it. But my dear brother, my dear sister, some feelings do not pass because they are not meant to be ignored. They are meant to be followed. That quiet discomfort in your chest, that restlessness in your heart, that sense that I am meant for something more than this is not arrogance. It is not dissatisfaction with Allah's blessings. It is a sign that Allah is preparing you for a new level of awareness, a deeper connection, a more sincere way of living. Because growth in faith does not always look like learning more words. Sometimes it looks like feeling less attached to the world. You begin to care less about being seen and more about being sincere. You begin to care less about impressing people and more about pleasing Allah. You begin to care less about how things look on the outside and more about what they feel like on the inside. And this is a beautiful shift. But it can also feel lonely, because not everyone around you will understand what you are experiencing. Some may think you have changed in a negative way. Some may say you are becoming distant. Some may say you are no longer the same person you used to be. And in a way, they are right. You are not the same person you used to be, because Allah is shaping you into someone new. You see, my dear one, if Allah kept you exactly as you were, in exactly the same emotional, spiritual and mental space, you would remain stuck at the same level of closeness to Him. But Allah loves you too much to leave you where you are when He knows you can become more. So He begins to loosen your attachment to things that once defined you. He may loosen your attachment to certain friendships. He may loosen your attachment to certain goals. He may loosen your attachment to certain comforts. Not because these things are always bad, but because they may have become too central in your heart, and Allah wants to be at the center. So He gently shifts things around you. He allows certain connections to fade. He allows certain plans to fall apart. He allows certain paths to feel blocked. And from your perspective, it feels like loss. But from Allah's perspective, it is alignment. Because sometimes the path you are walking cannot lead you to the place He has prepared for you. So He redirects you even if you do not yet see where you are going. My dear brothers and sisters, think about a child who is holding onto something sharp. The child does not understand why the parent is taking it away. The child only feels the loss. The child may even cry. But the parent sees the danger the child does not see. In the same way, Allah sees what certain habits, certain environments, certain attachments, and certain patterns are doing to your heart over time. You may not feel the damage yet. You may not see the effect yet. But Allah knows. So He begins to move you, sometimes slowly, sometimes gently, sometimes through moments that make you stop and reflect. You begin to feel less comfortable in places where you once felt at home. You begin to feel less excited by things that once motivated you. You begin to feel a deeper hunger for meaning, for purpose, for something that touches your soul, not just your mind. And my dear one, this hunger is a gift, because not everyone reaches a point in life where they begin to ask deeper questions. Not everyone reaches a point where they begin to look beyond what is visible and start searching for what is eternal. So if you find yourself in this space, do not see it as a problem. See it as an invitation from Allah to come closer. An invitation to simplify your life, an invitation to examine what you truly live for. You may start to notice that things you once chased so desperately no longer excite you in the same way. You may still work hard. You may still plan for the future. You may still enjoy the blessings of this world. But deep down, your heart begins to say, this is not everything. And that is a powerful realization. Because when you realize that this world is not everything, you begin to live differently in it. You begin to be more patient in hardship because you know it is temporary. You begin to be more grateful in ease because you know it is a gift. You begin to be more forgiving with people because you know everyone is on their own journey. And most importantly, you begin to turn back to Allah more often, not just in moments of need, but in moments of calm. My dear brothers and sisters, this shift you feel is not random. It is not a phase. It is not a weakness. It is not you losing interest in life. It is Allah awakening you to a deeper level of living. He is moving you from a life that is driven by habit to a life that is guided by intention. He is moving you from a heart that reacts to everything to a heart that reflects on everything. He is moving you from a version of yourself that survives to a version of yourself that understands why you are here. And yes, this process can be uncomfortable because growth almost always is. It feels like standing between who you used to be and who you are becoming, not fully fitting into either space. You may feel out of place. You may feel misunderstood. You may feel like you are walking alone at times. But my dear one, you are not alone. Allah is with you in this transition. Every thought that makes you reflect, every tear that makes you soften, every moment of silence that makes you turn inward, all of it is part of how He is shaping your heart. So when you feel yourself being pulled away from certain habits, certain people, certain patterns, and even certain dreams, do not panic. Do not rush to fill the space with noise. Do not rush to replace what is fading with something similar. Sit with the feeling. Ask Allah to guide you through it. Because sometimes what feels like emptiness is actually space. Space for a stronger faith. Space for a clearer purpose. Space for a closer relationship with Allah. You are not losing something. You are being moved into something deeper than comfort, something higher than familiarity, something more lasting than what you have known before. And my dear brothers and sisters, trust this movement, because the one who is guiding it is the one who knows your heart better than you know it yourself. May Allah grant you clarity in this season of change, patience in this season of growth, and peace in this season of becoming. May He make this shift not a source of fear, but a source of closeness to Him. And may He lead you gently, step by step, into a life that is not just lived, but lived with purpose, sincerity, and light. Some people were only meant to meet you at your lowest level, not your rise. My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to a part of your heart that feels heavy when you think about the people who are no longer walking beside you. There are moments in life when you look around and realize that the circle you once had has grown smaller. The voices that once filled your days have become quiet. The faces that once felt familiar now feel distant. and inside you a question begins to form. What happened? Did I do something wrong? Did I change too much? My dear one, sometimes the answer is simple and painful at the same time. Yes, you changed, but not in a way that is wrong. You changed in a way that Allah intended. You see, not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay for every chapter of it. Some people come to support you when you are broken. Some come to walk with you when you are confused. Some come to help you survive a difficult season. But not all of them are meant to walk with you when you begin to heal. There are people who feel comfortable around your pain, but feel uncomfortable around your peace. There are people who know how to sit with you when you are doubting, but do not know how to stand with you when you are confident in Allah. And this is not always because they are bad people. Sometimes it is simply because your growth reminds them of what they are not yet ready to face in themselves. My dear brothers and sisters, think about this gently. When you begin to change, when you begin to become more intentional in your faith, more careful in your choices, more protective of your heart, your life begins to move at a different pace. You begin to say no to things you once said yes to. You begin to walk away from conversations that do not sit well with your soul. You begin to value silence more than noise. You begin to value depth more than distraction. And when this happens, not everyone will understand you. Some may think you are becoming distant. Some may think you are becoming proud. Some may think you are no longer interested in them. But my dear one, what you are really doing is becoming more aware of what you allow into your heart. You are learning that not every voice deserves a place in your thoughts. Not every opinion deserves a place in your decisions. Not every presence deserves a place in your inner world. And this awareness is a form of maturity, because your heart is not a public space. It is a sacred space. And Allah is teaching you how to guard it. There are people who only know how to connect with you when you are struggling. They know how to comfort you when you are broken. They know how to advise you when you are lost. But when you begin to stand strong, when you begin to make decisions rooted in faith, when you begin to walk with quiet confidence, they may not know how to relate to you anymore. So the connection weakens, the conversations become shorter, the distance grows, and this can hurt because you remember how close you once were. You remember the support they gave you in hard times. You remember the bond you shared in moments of vulnerability. And you ask yourself, why can't we stay like that? My dear brother, my dear sister, not every relationship is meant to stay in the same form forever. Some relationships are built for survival. Some are built for healing. Some are built for growth. And not everyone can move with you from one stage to the next. When Allah begins to raise you, He also begins to refine your surroundings. Not always by removing people suddenly. Sometimes by allowing distance to grow naturally. Sometimes by letting misunderstandings happen. Sometimes by changing your priorities in a way that makes certain connections fade on their own. And from the outside, it may look like you are losing people. But from the inside, something else is happening. You are gaining clarity. You begin to see who respects your boundaries. You begin to see who supports your growth. You begin to see who celebrates your closeness to Allah and who feels uncomfortable with it. And this clarity is a gift because it helps you understand who can walk with you on the path you are choosing and who cannot. My dear brothers and sisters, let me say this gently. There are people who love the version of you that needs them. They love when you come to them for advice. They love when you depend on them for emotional support. They love when you lean on them for strength. But when you begin to lean more on Allah, something shifts. You become less dependent on people. You become less reactive to their opinions. You become less shaken by their presence or absence. And for some, this can feel like a loss of control. So they may pull away, they may criticize, they may question your changes. But my dear one, your growth is not something you need to apologize for. You are not meant to remain the same person forever. If you did, you would never move closer to Allah than you already are. And Allah did not create you to remain at one level of faith, one level of understanding, one level of awareness. He created you to grow. Sometimes that growth brings people closer. Sometimes it creates space. And both can be part of His plan. There is a beautiful wisdom in this. When your circle becomes smaller, your focus becomes clearer. You have fewer voices pulling you in different directions. You have fewer distractions competing for your attention. You have more space to listen to your own heart and, more importantly, to listen to Allah. And in that space, something powerful happens. You begin to hear your own intentions more clearly. You begin to understand what truly matters to you. You begin to see which paths bring you closer to Allah and which ones quietly pull you away. My dear brothers and sisters, let me remind you of something that brings peace. If someone is meant to walk with you in the next chapter of your life, Allah will make a way for them to stay. And if someone is not, Allah will make a way for them to go, even if you do not understand it at first. This does not mean you become cold. This does not mean you become unkind. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you learn how to trust Allah with your connections just as you trust Him with your circumstances. You can still make dua for those who walk away. You can still wish them well. You can still carry gratitude for the role they played in your life. Because every person who enters your story teaches you something. Some teach you what support looks like. Some teach you what boundaries look like. Some teach you what to hold on to. Some teach you what to let go of. And all of it becomes part of your journey. My dear one, if you feel like you are being left behind, pause and reflect. Are you really being left? Or are you being led in a different direction? Sometimes Allah takes you on a path that others are not ready to walk. Not because you are better than them, but because your journey requires a different kind of strength, a different kind of patience, a different kind of reliance on Him. And that is okay. You do not need a large crowd to walk with you if you have Allah walking ahead of you. You do not need constant approval if you have His acceptance. You do not need to be understood by everyone if you are sincere with Him. So if your circle grows smaller, let your heart grow deeper. If your connections become fewer, let your faith become stronger. If your path becomes quieter, let your relationship with Allah become louder in your life. My dear brothers and sisters, not everyone was meant to meet you at your rise. Some were meant to meet you at your lowest level, to help you survive a season that you could not have survived alone. And for that, be grateful. But now, Allah may be calling you to walk a different road. A road that requires more trust. A road that requires more patience. A road that requires more closeness to Him. So walk it gently. Do not carry bitterness for those who are no longer beside you. Do not carry guilt for becoming someone new. Carry gratitude for what was. Carry trust for what is coming. Carry faith in the one who is guiding every step you take. And my dear one, remember this. When Allah is with you, you are never truly walking alone. Even if the world behind you grows quiet, the presence of Allah ahead of you is more than enough to fill every step with meaning, every moment with purpose, and every season of change with light. Allah hides you in silence before He reveals you in strength. My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to the part of your heart that feels unseen, unheard, and sometimes forgotten. There are seasons in life when you feel like you are standing in the background of your own story. You show up, you try your best, you put effort into what you do, you keep your intentions sincere, and yet it feels like no one notices. You see others being praised, you see others being chosen, you see others being celebrated, and inside a quiet question forms, what about me? My dear one, this question does not make you ungrateful, it makes you human. But let me gently remind you of something deeper. Not every season of your life is meant to be seen by people. Some seasons are meant to be seen only by Allah. You see, before Allah reveals you in front of others, He often takes you into a place of silence. A place where there is no applause. A place where there is no recognition. A place where there is no crowd watching. And at first, this silence can feel heavy. You may feel invisible. You may feel overlooked. You may feel like your efforts are falling into an empty space. But my dear brother, my dear sister, this silence is not emptiness. This silence is construction. This is the space where Allah is building something inside you that does not need the approval of people to survive. Because there is a danger in being seen too early. There is a danger in being praised before your heart is ready to carry that praise. There is a danger in being lifted in front of people before you have learned how to stay grounded in front of Allah. So Allah, in His mercy, hides you. He hides you from the noise of opinions. He hides you from the weight of expectations. He hides you from the pressure of being constantly watched. And in this hidden place, something beautiful begins to happen. You start to do things for a different reason. When no one is watching, you discover why you really pray. When no one is praising, you discover why you really help. When no one is noticing, you discover whether your sincerity is real. Because sincerity is easiest when no one sees but Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, think about a seed placed in the ground. Before it ever becomes a tree that gives shade, it must spend time in the dark. It is covered by soil. It is unseen by the world. It is alone in silence. But in that darkness, it is not dying. It is growing. In the same way, when Allah places you in a season where you feel hidden, it does not mean you are being pushed away. It means you are being strengthened at the roots. Because a tree that grows too fast without strong roots will fall the first time a strong wind comes. And a person who rises too quickly without inner strength may fall the first time they face pressure, criticism, or temptation. So Allah slows you down. He gives you time to develop patience. He gives you time to build resilience. He gives you time to learn humility. And all of this happens away from the eyes of people. You may feel like your life is quiet while others are moving forward loudly. But my dear one, loud does not always mean strong. Sometimes the strongest work Allah does is the work no one can see. In this hidden season, you begin to meet yourself in a deeper way. You sit alone with your thoughts. You face your fears without distraction. You confront your intentions without excuses. You begin to ask yourself, why do I really want what I want? Who am I trying to please? What am I living for? And these questions are not always comfortable, but they are powerful because they clean the heart. They remove layers of showing off, of comparison, of seeking approval. And they bring you back to something simple and pure, your relationship with Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, let me tell you something important. When Allah hides you, He is not taking something away from you. He is giving something to you. He is giving you space. Space to grow without pressure. Space to make mistakes without being judged. Space to learn without being rushed. In this space, you begin to develop a quiet confidence that does not depend on people's opinions. You begin to feel strong even when no one is clapping for you. You begin to feel content even when no one is acknowledging you. You begin to feel close to Allah even when the world feels far away. And this kind of strength cannot be taught in public. It is only learnt in private. There will be moments in this hidden season when you feel discouraged. You may think, am I wasting my time? Is anything I am doing even making a difference? But my dear one, Allah sees every small effort. He sees every prayer you make when no one hears. He sees every act of kindness you do when no one thanks you. He sees every time you choose what is right when no one would have known if you chose otherwise. And these moments are building something far greater than recognition in this world. They are building your standing with Allah. You see, the world celebrates what is visible, but Allah values what is sincere. The world rewards what is impressive, but Allah rewards what is genuine. So when you feel hidden, remember this. You are not being ignored by Allah. You are being closely watched by Him. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also another wisdom in the season of silence. When Allah hides you, He protects you from harm you cannot see. Not everyone who praises you wishes you well. Not every eye that looks at you looks with kindness. Not every word of admiration comes without jealousy or ill intention. So Allah in His mercy keeps you away from certain attention. He keeps your blessings quiet. He keeps your growth subtle. He keeps your progress low-key. Until the time comes when you are strong enough to carry what He wants to give you. Because blessings, like responsibilities, can be heavy. And Allah does not place heavy things on a heart that is not yet ready to carry them. So He prepares you. He teaches you how to stay humble when you have little, so you can stay humble when you have more. He teaches you how to stay patient when you are unseen, so you can stay patient when you are surrounded by people. He teaches you how to stay sincere when you are alone, so you can stay sincere when you are in the spotlight. My dear one, let me say this gently. If you are in a season where your life feels quiet, where your progress feels slow, where your presence feels unnoticed, do not rush to escape it. There is a reason Allah has placed you here. This is where your character is being shaped. This is where your intentions are being refined. This is where your connection with Allah is being deepened. And one day, when Allah decides to reveal you in front of others, you will look back at this season and understand. You will realize that this was the time when you learned how to stand without support, how to move without praise, and how to trust without seeing the outcome. And that is a powerful place to be. My dear brothers and sisters, let me remind you of something that brings comfort. Your value is not measured by how many people see you. Your value is measured by how close you are to Allah. So if Allah has chosen to keep you hidden for now, be grateful, because He is doing something special with you. He is preparing you for a strength that does not break when the world becomes loud. He is preparing you for a faith that does not shake when people change. He is preparing you for a heart that remains steady no matter where He places you. And when the time comes, when He finally brings you into a space where others can see what He has built inside you, you will not be defined by their reactions. You will be anchored by His presence. So walk gently through the season of silence. Do not compare your journey to others. Do not rush your own unfolding. Do not doubt the value of what is happening in the quiet. Because, my dear one, some of the most powerful transformations in life happen when no one is watching. And Allah, who sees you in the hidden places, will one day honor you in a way that carries strength, not just attention. May Allah grant you patience in the season, trust in this process, and peace in knowing that being hidden by Him is not a delay. It is a preparation for a strength that will carry you through every season that comes after. The day you stop reacting is the day Allah elevates your heart. My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to a part of you that feels tired from carrying too many emotions, too many thoughts, and too many reactions. There was a time in your life when everything touched you deeply. A small comment could stay in your mind for hours. A look from someone could change your mood for the whole day. A disagreement could disturb your sleep. An opinion from someone else could make you question your own worth. And you would tell yourself, why am I like this? Why do I feel everything so strongly? My dear one, it is not because you are weak. It is because your heart was open. But there comes a time when Allah begins to teach your heart something new. He begins to teach it how to be open without being unprotected. This is a beautiful and powerful shift. You see, reacting is often automatic. Someone says something and your heart responds before your mind has time to reflect. Something goes wrong and your emotions rise before your trust in Allah can settle them. Someone misunderstands you and your first instinct is to explain, defend, or prove. And this is human. But Allah, in His mercy, does not leave you at this level forever. He begins to elevate your heart to a place where you pause before you respond. You begin to breathe before you speak. You begin to reflect before you act. You begin to turn inward before you turn outward. And in that pause, something powerful happens. You give space for Allah to enter your reaction. Instead of asking, how do I respond to this person? You begin to ask, how does Allah want me to carry myself in this moment? This changes everything. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how much energy is spent reacting to people's words, reacting to people's behavior, reacting to situations you cannot control, reacting to things that may not even matter a year from now. Your heart becomes like a door that opens every time someone knocks, no matter who it is or what they bring with them. And over time, this can be exhausting. So Allah begins to teach you how to close that door gently, not to shut people out, but to protect what is inside. You begin to realize that not every comment deserves a response. Not every misunderstanding needs an explanation. Not every opinion needs your attention. You begin to understand that your peace is more valuable than winning every argument. And this is not giving up. This is growing up. This is the heart learning that it does not need to fight every battle, because Allah is already carrying what truly matters. My dear one, when you stop reacting to everything, you begin to see things more clearly. You start to notice patterns instead of moments. You start to understand people's behavior instead of just feeling hurt by it. You start to see that what others say or do often comes from their own struggles, not from your worth. And this understanding brings compassion instead of anger. It brings calm instead of chaos. It brings clarity instead of confusion. You begin to walk through situations with a quiet strength. You listen more, you speak less, you choose your words carefully, and people may notice this change. They may say, "You are so calm now." They may say, "You don't react like you used to." They may say, "Nothing seems to shake you anymore." But my dear one, what they are really seeing is not emotional distance. They are seeing spiritual depth. They are seeing a heart that has learned where to place its trust. Because when your heart is anchored in Allah, the waves of people's opinions cannot pull it in every direction. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a beautiful freedom in this level. When you stop reacting, you stop being controlled by what is outside of you. You no longer give people the power to determine your mood. You no longer give situations the authority to define your day. You no longer give circumstances the right to shape your identity. Instead, you allow Allah to be the center of your emotional world. You wake up and say, "Whatever today brings, Allah is with me." And that simple belief changes how you walk into every moment. If something good happens, you are grateful. If something difficult happens, you are patient. If something confusing happens, you are trusting. Not because you understand everything, but because you trust the one who does. My dear one, let me say this gently. Not reacting does not mean you do not feel. It means you do not let your feelings control your actions. You still feel hurt. You still feel disappointed. You still feel misunderstood. But instead of letting those feelings spill out in ways you later regret, you bring them to Allah first. You sit in prayer. You whisper in dua. You let your tears fall where only He can see. And in that private space, your heart finds healing. So when you return to the world, you return lighter. You return calmer. You return with a heart that has been soothed by the presence of Allah, not hardened by the behavior of people. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how powerful this is. When you stop reacting, you also stop carrying things that are not yours to carry. You stop carrying other people's moods. You stop carrying other people's anger. You stop carrying other people's expectations. You only carry what Allah places on your heart. And Allah is gentle with what He places there. He gives you patience when you feel tested. He gives you strength when you feel weak. He gives you peace when you feel overwhelmed. This is what it means for Allah to elevate your heart. It does not mean He removes every problem from your life. It means He changes how your heart stands in the middle of those problems. You become like a calm center in a moving world. Things happen around you, but they no longer shake what is inside you. My dear one, this level takes time. It is not reached in a day or a week. It is built through repeated moments of choosing patience over reaction. It is built through moments of choosing silence over argument. It is built through moments of choosing prayer over complaint. And every time you make one of these choices, your heart becomes a little stronger, a little calmer, a little closer to Allah. So if you notice that you no longer respond the way you used to, do not think you are becoming cold. You are becoming anchored. You are becoming rooted. You are becoming someone who does not rise and fall with every word spoken around them. You are becoming someone who rises and falls only in closeness to Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, let me remind you of something that brings deep peace. Allah hears what you do not say. Allah knows what you do not explain. Allah understands what you do not defend. So you do not have to exhaust yourself trying to make everyone see your side. You only have to remain sincere with Him. And that sincerity will protect your heart in ways no argument ever could. Walk gently with this elevated heart. Let your calm be your strength. Let your silence be your wisdom. Let your trust in Allah be your foundation. Because the day you stop reacting to everything around you is not the day you become weak. It is the day Allah has made you strong in a way that the world cannot take away. May Allah grant you a heart that remains steady in every season, a soul that finds peace in His remembrance, and a spirit that carries calm wherever you walk. And may this calm not be a distance from people, but a closeness to Him that lights every step you take. Lesson 5. Every door that closed was Allah protecting you from a smaller destiny. My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to the part of your heart that still carries the weight of what did not happen. There are memories you return to quietly, moments you replay in your mind, plans you once held with so much hope, futures you imagined so clearly that they almost felt real. And now, they are not here. A door closed, a path ended, a relationship changed, an opportunity disappeared. And even if time has passed, there is still a place in your heart that whispers, what if it had worked out? My dear one, this question is human. It comes from a heart that hoped, that cared, that believed in something beautiful. But let me gently invite you to look at this moment from a different place. Not every door that closes is a rejection. Some doors close because they were too small for the future Allah is preparing for you. At the time, you may not have seen it that way. At the time, that door felt like everything. That path felt like your only way forward. That person, that plan, that opportunity felt like the answer to your prayers. And when it disappeared, it felt like something was taken from you. But my dear brother, my dear sister, sometimes Allah does not take something away. Sometimes He saves you from staying somewhere that would have limited who you were meant to become. You see, we often judge things by how they feel in the moment. If it feels good, we think it is good. If it hurts, we think it is bad. But Allah sees beyond the moment. He sees what that path would have made of your heart over time. He sees what that environment would have done to your faith. He sees what that relationship would have slowly taken from your peace. He sees what that opportunity would have required you to compromise. And because He sees what you cannot, He steps in. Sometimes gently, sometimes firmly. Sometimes in a way that feels sudden and painful. And from where you stand, it feels like loss. But from where Allah stands, it is protection. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how often in life we ask Allah for something because it looks good from the outside. We see the comfort, we see the success, we see the happiness, we see the stability, but we do not see the hidden cost. We do not see the late nights of anxiety it would have brought. We do not see the pressure it would have placed on our values. We do not see the distance it would have created between our hearts and Allah. We do not see the version of ourselves we would have had to become in order to stay there. Allah sees all of that. So when He closes a door, He is not just changing your situation, He is protecting your soul. There are places that would have given you more in this world, but taken something from you in your faith. There are paths that would have made you look successful, but feel empty inside. There are relationships that would have made you feel wanted, but slowly pulled you away from who you truly are. And Allah, in His mercy, does not allow you to settle in a space that would shrink your heart. So He moves you. Sometimes before you are ready, sometimes before you understand, sometimes before you can even imagine another way forward. My dear one, this is why some endings feel so heavy, because what ended was not just something outside of you. It was a version of you that would have existed if that door had stayed open. And letting go of that version of yourself can be painful. You are not just grieving what you lost, you are grieving who you thought you were going to become. And that is a deep kind of grief. But let me tell you something filled with hope. If Allah allowed that door to close, it means the person you were meant to become is greater than the one you would have been if it stayed open. Your destiny is not smaller because something ended. It is larger. You just cannot see it yet. My dear brothers and sisters, sometimes we hold on to closed doors because we are afraid of what is behind us, not because what was behind the door was truly meant for us. We fear the unknown. We fear starting again. We fear walking a path we did not plan for. So we keep looking back even when the door is clearly shut. But my dear one, Allah does not close a door and leave you standing in a hallway forever. If He closes one door, He opens another. It may not open immediately. It may not look the way you expected. It may not lead where you thought you wanted to go, but it will lead where you need to go. Sometimes the new door is not an opportunity. Sometimes it is a lesson. Sometimes it is a season of healing. Sometimes it is a season of waiting. Sometimes it is a season of building strength. And these seasons may not feel exciting, but they are necessary. Because before Allah gives you something greater, He often makes you into someone stronger. My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to the pain of comparison. You may look at others who walked through doors that closed for you. You may see them still in places you were removed from. And you may wonder, why them and not me? But my dear one, different hearts need different journeys. What someone else can carry may not be what you were meant to carry. What someone else can stay in may not be what your soul could survive in. Allah does not guide everyone in the same way, because He did not create every heart the same way. Your path is personal. Your tests are personal. Your growth is personal. Your closeness to Allah is personal. So do not measure your journey by someone else's door. Measure it by how close you feel to Allah as you walk it. There is also something beautiful that happens after a door closes. You begin to see things you could not see when it was open. At first, you only see the pain. You only see the loss. You only see what is missing. But with time, reflection and prayer, you begin to notice something else. You notice the relief. You notice the freedom. You notice the space that opened up in your life. You realize you are no longer carrying a burden you did not even know was heavy. You realize you are no longer forcing yourself into a space that never truly fit your heart. And slowly gratitude begins to replace regret. Not because it did not hurt, but because you begin to see why it had to end. My dear one, let me remind you of something that brings deep comfort. Allah does not close doors to punish you. He closes them to guide you. He closes them to redirect you. He closes them to protect you. He closes them to prepare you for something that aligns better with who you are becoming. So when a door closes in your life, do not immediately label it as failure. Sometimes it is a form of mercy you will only understand later. Sometimes it is Allah saying, this is not where your story ends. My dear brothers and sisters, there will come a day when you look back at a closed door that once broke your heart. And you will say, if that had worked out, I would not be here. You will see the people you met because that door closed. You will see the strength you developed because that door closed. You will see the faith you built because that door closed. And you will realize that what felt like an ending was actually a beginning. So walk forward even if you do not yet see where the path leads. Trust Allah with the doors you cannot open. Trust Him with the plans that did not unfold. Trust Him with the future you cannot yet imagine. Because the one who closed that door is the one who holds the keys to doors far greater than the one you lost. And my dear one, He does not lead you towards something smaller. He leads you towards something that fits the heart He is shaping inside you. May Allah grant you the ability to let go of what has closed, the patience to walk through what is opening, and the trust to believe that every step, even the painful ones, is carrying you toward a destiny filled with purpose, growth, and closeness to Him. Lesson 6, when you no longer chase anyone, it is because Allah has become your direction. My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to the part of your heart that feels tired from running after approval, running after acceptance, running after being understood, running after being chosen, remembered, included, and valued by people. There is a kind of exhaustion that does not come from the body, it comes from the soul. It comes from constantly looking outward for something that can only be settled inward. There was a time in your life when so much of what you did was shaped by how others would respond. You spoke in a way you hoped would be liked. You stayed in places you hoped would accept you. You held on to relationships you hoped would change. And even when it hurt, even when it drained you, even when it left you empty, you told yourself, maybe if I try a little harder, things will be different. My dear one, this is not because you were weak. It is because you were searching. You were searching for connection. You were searching for belonging. You were searching for a place where your heart could finally rest. But Allah, in His mercy, does not allow you to search in the wrong direction forever. There comes a moment in life when something inside you begins to turn. You still care about people. You still value relationships. You still appreciate kindness and connection, but you no longer build your entire sense of worth on them. You no longer measure your value by how often someone calls you, remembers you, invites you, or chooses you. You begin to measure your value by something deeper, by how sincere you are with Allah, by how gentle your heart is becoming, by how steady your faith remains when no one else is around. And this is the moment when chasing people begins to fade from your life. Not because you stop caring, but because you start trusting. You start trusting that what is meant for you will not need to be forced. You start trusting that the people who are meant to walk with you will not need to be chased. You start trusting that the connections Allah has written for you will arrive in their time and remain in their place. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how much energy is spent chasing conversations that feel one-sided, chasing friendships that feel unbalanced, chasing relationships that feel uncertain, chasing opportunities that require you to compromise who you are. And every time you chase, a small part of your heart begins to believe that you are not enough on your own, that you must prove your worth, that you must earn your place, that you must convince others to see value in you. But my dear one, Allah did not create you to be a question mark in someone else's life. He created you with dignity. And when you begin to turn your heart toward Him, that dignity begins to return. You start to walk differently. You no longer rush to fill every silence. You no longer panic when someone pulls away. You no longer feel anxious when plans change, because your sense of stability is no longer tied to people. It is tied to Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, this does not happen overnight. This level is built slowly through experiences that teach you to let go. Moments when you try to hold on to someone and they still leave. Moments when you give your best and it is still not enough for someone. Moments when you show up fully and are still misunderstood. And each of these moments, as painful as they are, teaches your heart a quiet lesson that people can change, that situations can shift, that nothing in this world is guaranteed. And in that realization, your heart begins to look for something that does not change. It begins to look for Allah. You begin to find comfort in prayer instead of conversation. You begin to find relief in remembrance instead of reassurance. You begin to find peace in dua instead of explanation. And slowly, your direction changes. You are no longer walking toward people hoping they will make you feel whole. You are walking toward Allah knowing that He already sees you as complete. My dear one, there is a beautiful freedom in this. When Allah becomes your direction, rejection loses its power. If someone walks away, you do not collapse. If someone misunderstands you, you do not fall apart. If someone chooses differently, you do not question your worth. You feel the sadness, you feel the disappointment, you feel the human ache, but beneath it, there is a deeper calm. A calm that says, Allah is still with me. And that calm holds you in a way no person ever could. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a quiet confidence that comes with this level. You no longer need to announce your presence. You no longer need to demand attention. You no longer need to compete for space in people's lives. You show up as you are. If you are welcomed, you are grateful. If you are not, you are at peace. Because your worth is no longer being negotiated in every interaction. It is already settled with Allah. And this changes how you treat others. You become less controlling. You become less possessive. You become less afraid of losing people. You allow others to choose freely, just as you allow yourself to walk freely toward Allah. My dear one, this is not a cold place. It is a warm one. It is the place where you can love without clinging, care without controlling, give without expecting, because your heart is not empty. It is filled with trust in Allah. And when your heart is full, you do not need to grab onto everything around you. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how this changes your relationship with life itself. You stop chasing outcomes. You stop forcing timelines. You stop demanding that things happen a certain way. You still plan. You still work. You still make effort. But beneath all of it, there is a quiet surrender. You say, I will do my part and I will leave the rest to Allah. And that is a powerful way to live, because it allows you to move forward without being anxious about every step. It allows you to open your hands instead of clenching your fists. It allows you to walk through life with trust instead of tension. My dear one, let me say this gently. When you stop chasing people, you do not become alone. You become aligned with what Allah has written for you, aligned with the pace Allah has set for you, aligned with the path Allah has chosen for you. And in that alignment, the right people begin to appear naturally. Not because you ran after them, but because you and they are walking in the same direction. My dear brothers and sisters, there is a beautiful moment that comes at this level. You realize that you no longer fear being left behind, because you know you are being led forward. You no longer fear being forgotten, because you know you are remembered by Allah. You no longer fear being alone, because you know you are never without His presence. So if you feel your heart no longer chasing what it once chased, do not think you have become distant. You have become directed toward a life that is less about proving yourself and more about trusting Allah. Directed toward a heart that is less about holding on to people and more about holding on to faith. Directed toward a soul that is learning how to walk through this world without losing its connection to the one who created it. My dear one, this is not a small shift. This is a deep one. This is the moment when your life stops revolving around what people think of you and starts revolving around what Allah knows about you. And that is a beautiful place to stand. So walk gently in this direction. Let Allah be the one you move toward in every decision, every relationship, every season of your life. Because when Allah becomes your direction, you will never truly be lost, no matter where you go. May Allah grant you a heart that trusts His guidance, a soul that finds comfort in His presence, and a life that moves steadily toward Him, even when the path is quiet, even when the road is long, even when the world around you does not understand where you are going. Lesson 7. Your peace is proof that Allah has taken control of your story. My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to the part of your heart that once needed to know everything before it could feel safe. There was a time in your life when uncertainty felt like a threat. You wanted clear answers. You wanted solid plans. You wanted to know exactly how things would unfold, who would stay, what would succeed, and where you would end up. And when you did not have those answers, your heart would grow restless. You would replay conversations in your mind. You would imagine different outcomes. You would worry about what might go wrong instead of trusting what could go right. But now something has changed. You still have questions. You still face unknowns. You still walk through moments where the future feels unclear. Yet your heart is calmer. You no longer feel the same urgency to control every detail. You no longer feel the same panic when things do not go as planned. You no longer feel the same fear when life takes a turn you did not expect. And my dear one, this calm is not carelessness. It is trust. You see, when Allah begins to take control of your story, He also begins to teach your heart how to rest inside that control. You start to realize that you were never meant to carry the weight of your entire life on your own shoulders. You were never meant to plan every step without leaving space for Allah to guide. So slowly, gently, Allah begins to take that burden from you, not by removing all difficulty, not by making every path easy, but by changing how your heart stands in the middle of uncertainty. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how heavy it feels to believe that everything depends on you, that if you make one wrong choice, everything will fall apart, that if you do not say the right thing, everything will be ruined, that if you do not hold on tightly, everything will slip away. This kind of thinking can exhaust the soul. So Allah teaches you something softer, something stronger. He teaches you to say, I will try my best and I will leave the rest to Him. And in that sentence, there is a world of peace, because now effort belongs to you, but outcome belongs to Allah. You still work, you still plan, you still make choices, but you no longer carry the illusion that you are in full control. You carry the truth that Allah is. My dear one, this is where peace begins. It begins when you stop fighting the flow of what Allah has written and start walking with it. You begin to see your life not as a series of random events, but as a story that is being carefully guided. Even the parts that hurt, even the parts that confuse, even the parts that feel like delays, you start to trust that if something is slow, it is being protected. If something is difficult, it is being refined. If something is unclear, it is being prepared. And this trust changes how you move through your days. When something goes wrong, you no longer immediately ask, why is this happening to me? You begin to ask, what is Allah teaching me here? When something does not work out, you no longer see it only as a failure. You begin to see it as redirection. When someone leaves your life, you no longer see it only as loss. You begin to see it as space being made for something or someone else. My dear brothers and sisters, this does not mean you stop feeling pain. You still feel the ache of disappointment. You still feel the sting of misunderstanding. You still feel the sadness of change. But beneath those feelings, there is a deeper layer of calm. A calm that whispers, Allah knows. And that whisper can carry you through things that would have once broken you. My dear one, this level of peace does not come from having everything go your way. It comes from believing that even when things do not go your way, they are still going Allah's way. And Allah's way is always guided by mercy, even when it is wrapped in difficulty. There is also a beautiful freedom that comes when Allah takes control of your story. You stop comparing your chapter to someone else's. You stop rushing your timeline because someone else seems ahead. You stop feeling behind because you realize you are exactly where Allah has placed you. And that place, wherever it is, has meaning. You begin to walk at your own pace. You stop forcing doors. You stop chasing outcomes. You stop measuring your life by external success alone. You start measuring it by something quieter and deeper, by how close you feel to Allah when you wake up, by how sincere your prayers feel when you speak to Him, by how gentle your heart is becoming with yourself and others. My dear brothers and sisters, let me tell you something powerful. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of trust. It is the ability to sit in the middle of uncertainty and still feel held by the knowledge that Allah sees what you do not see, held by the belief that Allah knows what you do not know, held by the assurance that Allah's plan is not careless, even when it is not clear. This is why your peace is a sign of elevation, not because your life is perfect, but because your heart has learned where to place its weight. It has stopped leaning on people who can change. It has stopped leaning on situations that can collapse. It has stopped leaning on plans that can fail. It has learned to lean on Allah. And Allah does not collapse. Allah does not forget. Allah does not fail. My dear one, think about how this changes your relationship with time. You no longer feel like you are racing against it. You no longer feel like you are running out. You begin to trust that what is written for you will reach you at the right moment, not a moment too early and not a moment too late. You begin to trust that delays are not denials, they are design. They are part of how Allah aligns your heart, your circumstances, and your future, so that when something finally arrives, you are ready to receive it. My dear brothers and sisters, there will be moments when your peace is tested. Moments when something unexpected happens. Moments when something precious feels threatened. Moments when something you hoped for feels out of reach. And in those moments, you may feel the old anxiety trying to return. But now, you have something you did not have before. You have a place to return to. You return to prayer. You return to remembrance. You return to that quiet sentence in your heart, Allah is in control. And every time you return there, your peace grows a little stronger, a little deeper, a little more unshakable. My dear one, this is not a small gift. This is one of the greatest gifts Allah gives to a heart. The gift of being able to walk through life without being constantly afraid of what comes next. The gift of being able to face the future without being consumed by it. The gift of being able to live in the present, trusting that Allah is already in the future, preparing what you will need when you get there. So if you feel a calm in your heart that you did not have before, do not dismiss it. Do not think it is nothing. It is a sign that Allah has taken your story into His care, a sign that you are no longer carrying your life alone, a sign that your heart has learned where true safety comes from. Walk gently with this peace, protect it, nourish it with prayer, with gratitude, with remembrance. Because in a world that constantly tries to make you anxious, rushed and afraid, a peaceful heart is a powerful thing. And my dear brothers and sisters, a peaceful heart that trusts Allah is a heart that is being raised. Raised above fear, raised above worry, raised above the need to control everything. May Allah grant you a heart that remains calm in every season, a soul that finds comfort in His plan, and a life that walks forward with trust, even when the path is unclear, even when the road is long, even when the future is still unfolding. And may this peace always remind you that your story is not in your hands alone. It is in the hands of the Most Merciful. Lesson 8. You were not raised for this world. You were raised to stand before Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to the deepest place in your heart, the place that still wonders quietly and honestly, what is all of this really for? There comes a moment in life when the noise of the world grows loud, and yet inside you something becomes very still. You look around at the rush, the competition, the constant striving for more, for better, for higher, for faster. You see people chasing titles, chasing approval, chasing comfort, chasing recognition. And in the middle of all of this movement, your heart begins to ask a different kind of question. Not, how do I get ahead? But, where am I going? My dear one, this question is not ordinary. It is a sign of awakening, because when Allah begins to raise a heart, He does not only lift it above the distractions of this world, He lifts it toward the reality of the next. You begin to realize that this life, with all its beauty and pain, with all its beginnings and endings, with all its meetings and separations, is not the final destination. It is a passage. It is a journey. It is a place where you are being shaped, tested, softened, strengthened, and prepared for a meeting far greater than any meeting you will ever have in this world. The meeting with Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how much of life is spent on things that do not last. We work for things that fade. We worry about things that change. We stress over opinions that shift. We hold on to moments that pass. Even the happiest days eventually become memories. Even the hardest nights eventually become stories you tell yourself about who you used to be. Nothing in this world stays in the same form. Not youth, not strength, not wealth, not status, not relationships. Not even the version of yourself you see in the mirror today. Everything moves, everything transforms, everything returns to Allah. And when you begin to truly feel this, not just know it in your mind, but feel it in your heart, your life starts to take on a different meaning. You stop living only for what you can collect. You start living for what you can carry with you beyond this life. Because my dear one, there is something you will carry forward. Not your house, not your job, not your name, not your reputation. You will carry your heart. You will carry your intentions. You will carry your choices. You will carry how you treated people when no one forced you to be kind. You will carry how you acted when no one would have known if you chose wrong instead of right. You will carry how you turned back to Allah when you fell, when you failed, when you felt weak. These are the things that do not fade. These are the things that stand with you when everything else falls away. My dear brothers and sisters, Allah does not raise you only to give you a better life here. He raises you to give you a better standing with Him. This is why some of your greatest growth comes through your greatest tests. This is why some of your deepest prayers come from your deepest pain. This is why some of your strongest faith is built in moments when you feel the most fragile. Because in those moments, the world can no longer distract you from what truly matters. When life is smooth, it is easy to forget the next life. When life is comfortable, it is easy to become attached to this one. But when life shakes you, when something is taken, when something breaks, when something does not go the way you planned, your heart often turns upward. You look beyond what you can see. You look beyond what you can fix. You look toward Allah, and in that turning, something beautiful happens. You remember who you really are, not just a person with goals and roles and responsibilities in this world, but a soul on a journey back to its Creator. My dear one, think about how often you are reminded of this without even realizing it. Every goodbye is a reminder. Every ending is a sign. Every loss is a whisper. It is as if life itself is gently saying to you, do not get too comfortable here. This is not where you stay forever. But Allah does not remind you of this to make you sad. He reminds you to make you purposeful, so that you do not waste your days on things that leave your heart empty. So that you do not build your life only on what can be taken from you. So that you invest in something that cannot be touched by time, by people, or by circumstances. Your relationship with Him. My dear brothers and sisters, when you truly understand that you were raised to stand before Allah, your priorities begin to change. You start to ask different questions. Not just, is this good for my image? But, is this good for my heart? Not just, will people approve? But, will Allah be pleased? Not just, what will I gain? But, what will this make of me? And these questions are powerful because they guide you even when no one is watching. They guide you in private moments, not just in public ones. They guide you in your thoughts, not just in your actions. My dear one, standing before Allah is not just a future moment. It begins now. It begins in how you speak when you are angry. It begins in how you act when you are tempted. It begins in how you treat people when you have the power to be harsh. It begins in how you respond when you are hurt. Every day, in small ways, you are choosing who you will be in that moment when you stand before Him. And Allah, in His mercy, gives you countless chances to choose again. When you make a mistake, He gives you the door of repentance. When you feel weak, He gives you the strength of prayer. When you feel lost, He gives you the guidance of remembrance. He does not expect perfection. He invites sincerity. He does not ask you to never fall. He asks you to always return. My dear brothers and sisters, think about how different your life becomes when you live with this awareness. You become softer, not harder. You become more forgiving, not more bitter. You become more patient, not more demanding, because you realize that this world is not a courtroom where you must win every case. It is a field where you are planting seeds, and you will harvest those seeds in the next life. Every kind word is a seed. Every moment of patience is a seed. Every act of honesty is a seed. Every prayer in the middle of the night is a seed. Every time you hold back from harming someone, even when you could, is a seed. And Allah is the one who grows what you plant, even when no one else sees it, even when no one else appreciates it, even when no one else thanks you for it. My dear one, there will be days when you feel tired of trying to be good. Days when being patient feels heavy. Days when being kind feels unrewarded. Days when choosing what is right feels lonely. And in those moments, remember this. You are not doing this only for this world. You are doing this for the moment when you stand before Allah and He says, I saw you when no one else did. I knew your struggle when no one else understood. I valued your effort when no one else noticed. What greater honor could there be? My dear brothers and sisters, Allah also raises you in a way that slowly detaches you from the need for constant recognition. You begin to do things quietly. You begin to give without announcing. You begin to help without expecting. You begin to pray without showing. And this quiet goodness becomes a part of who you are. Not something you perform, not something you display, but something you live, because you know that the one who truly matters is already watching. My dear one, think about how freeing this is. You no longer have to build a life that looks impressive. You can build a life that feels sincere. You no longer have to chase being admired. You can chase being accepted by Allah. And in that chase, you find a peace that admiration never gives. Because admiration fades. Because people change. Because opinions shift. But Allah remains. My dear brothers and sisters, there is also a beautiful humility that comes with knowing you will stand before Allah. You begin to see yourself more honestly. You see your strengths, but you also see your flaws. You see your good deeds, but you also see your mistakes. You see how far you have come, but you also see how much you still need His mercy. And instead of making you despair, this makes you gentle. Gentle with yourself, gentle with others. Because you realize that everyone you meet is also on a journey. Everyone you encounter is also carrying their own struggles, their own fears, their own hopes, their own battles. So you become less quick to judge and more quick to understand. Less eager to condemn and more eager to forgive. Because you know that one day, all of you will stand before the same Allah. And on that day, what will matter is not who was louder. It will matter who was sincere. My dear one, this awareness also changes how you view success. Success is no longer only about what you achieve. It becomes about who you become. It becomes about whether your heart is closer to Allah than it was yesterday. It becomes about whether your character reflects His guidance more than it did before. It becomes about whether your faith is deeper, your patience stronger, your gratitude more sincere. And these are successes that no one can take from you, even if the world turns away, even if people misunderstand you, even if life becomes difficult. These successes stay with you. My dear brothers and sisters, let me speak to the fear that sometimes lives quietly in the heart. The fear of death, the fear of the unknown. The fear of what comes after this life. When you live only for this world, these fears can feel overwhelming. But when you live for Allah, something shifts. Death becomes not just an end, it becomes a return. A return to the one who guided you, protected you, forgave you, and stayed with you through every season of your life. And this does not remove all fear, but it replaces it with hope. Hope in His mercy, hope in His forgiveness, hope in His promise. My dear one, Allah raises you in this life so that you are ready for the next. He teaches you to let go so you are not afraid of leaving. He teaches you to trust so you are not afraid of what you cannot see. He teaches you to love Him so you long for the moment you finally meet Him. So if you feel yourself becoming less attached to the world, less impressed by its noise, less driven by its competition, do not think something is wrong with you. Something is right with you. Your heart is remembering where it truly belongs. My dear brothers and sisters, walk through this life with this awareness gently in your chest. Do not rush. Do not hurry. Do not lose your softness in a hard world. Let your life be a quiet preparation for a beautiful meeting. Let your days be filled with small acts of sincerity. Let your nights be filled with whispered prayers. Let your heart be filled with gratitude even when things are not perfect. Because perfection is not promised here, but mercy is promised there. And my dear one, when you finally stand before Allah, you will not stand as someone who simply lived. You will stand as someone who tried, someone who fell and returned, someone who struggled and prayed, someone who was weak and trusted. And Allah, who knows every step of your journey, every tear you hid, every effort you made, will not measure you by what you achieved in the eyes of the world. He will measure you by the sincerity of your heart. So remember this always. You were not raised for this world alone. You were raised to stand before Allah. May Allah grant you a heart that lives with this awareness, a soul that walks with this purpose, and a life that grows closer to Him with every step, until the day you return to Him and find that every moment of patience, every act of faith, and every quiet choice you made has become a light that welcomes you home. My dear brother, my dear sister, if today your heart feels a little lighter, a little clearer, or even a little more still, then know that this is not because of these words. It is because Allah allowed them to reach you. Remember this as you walk back into your life, into your responsibilities, into your relationships, and into your quiet moments. Not everyone will understand the path Allah is taking you on. Not everyone will recognize the person you are becoming, and that is okay. What matters is that Allah knows you, Allah sees you, Allah is guiding you. So walk gently through this world. Carry patience when things feel slow. Carry gratitude when things feel heavy. Carry trust when things feel uncertain. And when you feel alone, remember this: you are never walking without Allah walking with you. May Allah fill your heart with peace that does not depend on people, strength that does not come from circumstances, and a faith that grows deeper with every step you take toward Him. And may every moment of your life, seen and unseen, be a step closer to His mercy.